For 28 days, 10 students, including myself, were lucky enough to call this village our home. In Shizhou, located in the Yunnan province, we observed, connected, and learned. When given the opportunity to choose any topic to study, I chose child rearing in Shizhou. I have always loved interacting and being around kids, so my inquiry project was never a chore so much as a hobby. I studied the outs and ends of my topic and cherished each conversation that I had with the local community members. After learning everything that I could about it, I have come to this conclusion. The important morals that parents in Shizhou teach their children are impacted by 3 factors: their views on corporal punishment, their views on early childhood education, and the aspirations and dreams that they have for their children. The views on corporal punishment were split up into 3 different groups. The first group consisted of those who believe that it is all right to hit a child immediately after she has made a mistake, without exception. This group was made up of the elder generation in Shizhou. Mrs. Yang told me that her family considers it socially acceptable to hit their misbehaving children. However, in my conversation with Mrs. Do, she told me that punishment for a child's actions depends on what the child does and what the parent's mood is. By doing this, parents hope that once the pain is over, their children will learn a lesson. However, I personally believe that if children are hit when they make a mistake, they may not thoroughly learn why this was a mistake. Thus, they may become scared of trying new things in the future in fear of being hit. The second group consists of parents who believe that hitting is only acceptable in certain situations, and that the child should be verbally corrected first. Most of the locals that I interviewed fell into this category. Mrs. Zhang would explain to her kids why this was a mistake after they were hit. Mrs. Zhao hit her son when he misbehaved or when he neglected his responsibilities. Miss Li hit her son when he disobeyed her or if he was putting himself in danger. I find this view on corporal punishment more well thought out than the previous. This way, children will know what they did wrong and know how they can improve in the future. The third group consists of parents who find corporal punishment unacceptable and do not practice it under any circumstances. Xiao Bai, who has a 2-year-old son, falls into this category. She believes that corporal punishment will not benefit him at all in the future, and that it is better to strongly and verbally correct him. Clearly, this belief is not held by many people in the village. Now onto the second factor, views on early childhood education. Some people in this village believe that children attend kindergarten to begin an academic foundation, while others believe that a child should gain social and life skills while in kindergarten. Miss Ying is the kindergarten principal, and she said that life skills are the most important things that children can learn in kindergarten. If they do not learn these, they will turn into clueless and antisocial adults. I strongly agree with Miss Ying's reasoning, and it is a commonly held perspective in Shizhou. However, some are not so keen on this perspective. Both Miss Do and Miss Zhang said that one of the most important things to teach small children is to study hard in school and to build an academic foundation. The third factor that impacts important parenting morals are the aspirations and dreams that parents have for their children. Most of the older people in Shizhou were content with their adult children working in Shizhou. As a result, they now look after their grandchildren who live in the village. These people taught their children to value respect, obedience, and diligence. However, the middle-aged and younger generations had very different ideals. They all want their children to work in large cities like Kunming, because they know that they will have more of a chance of succeeding there. Despite this, they hope that they will be able to look after their future grandchildren, and that their children will provide for them after they retire. This generation of parents also teaches their children different morals. They value independence, responsibility, and politeness over the more traditional values taught to Chinese children. I agree with teaching children these morals, as it will help them go far in life way beyond childhood. But how have I personally been impacted over the course of my journey? How have my interactions with locals shaped my views and perspectives on my topic? Before I came to Shizhou, my views were very black and white and were not thought-provoking in the slightest. I thought that a certain age group of parents would all have the same views on child rearing. For example, I thought that all grandparents would have the same traditional values, and all young parents would be more flexible. However, once I arrived in Shizhou, my perspectives started to change. I quickly started to think that parenting practices were passed down from generation to generation, and that each family tended to have their own distinctive values. I gathered this from my conversations that I had with Miss Yang and Xiaobai. Miss Yang's parents hit her, and as a result, she hit her sons. On the other hand, Xiaobai's parents did not hit her, and she does not believe in hitting her son. After my 4 weeks in Shizhou, my views have further changed. I now know that instead of sticking to the same values as one's parents practiced, people tend to pick up the practices that were effectively used by their own parents, and they change the methods that they did not agree with. But I have gained something way beyond information and perspectives. In the past month, I have been pushed out of my comfort zone. It has not always been smooth or easy for that matter. But in the process, I have learned how to interact with people of all backgrounds, personalities, and nationalities. This is something that I will be able to cherish way beyond 8th grade, or beyond school in general for that matter. If you plop 10 kids from a big city in a tiny village for a month, you give them a chance to experience what life is really like. Through Microcampus, I have learned that living, and I mean really living, is not just planning, doing, and repeating. In Shizhou, I have been given a chance to see things instead of looking at them. I have been given a chance to experience things instead of just doing them. It is these experiences, and not the ones that I gain in a stuffy classroom, that will really shape the road ahead for me.